we stand for our national identity, he replies. You probably noticed that it's getting busier over here. We're under pressure from all sides. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Rain Time. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into this. Time passes, voice grows silent. Evelyn leaves as she's got work the next morning. The older people have also disappeared. And someone somewhere starts speaking. Ooh, the moon. For months on end, the workmen were drawn from their homes and families to work on the earthen embankment that would protect the polder against the water. At night, they were packed tightly together in their makeshift barracks. Even the slightest breeze would set the cold, dark waters of the lake beating up against the wooden walls. And the only thing that kept them warm was the thick layers of mud that was caked to their bodies like a protective shell. They set to work with iron, willpower, every day, under conditions that bordered slavery, a task that seemed as endless as the waters of the artificial lake. But a superhuman ethos lived among them, a steely resolve that kept the men united. As if their minds were riveted together, and they no longer cared for the matters of every day. A brackish, muddy culture arose among the workmen of the lake. They told each other stories after work, although none of them were ever put to paper. After the embankment was finished, the remaining water was pumped out and slowly patches of the earth fell dry. At first, the reclaimed seabed was bare and inhospitable, too soft to even set foot upon. But soon, dramatic changes began to take place among the waterlogged marshes. Crops started to sprout and rooted effortlessly in the mud soil, where they fought each other for survival. Move, move, the elderberry hissed to the knotweed. This is my spot, my spot. The knotweed, however, bowed for no one and stealthily crept up to the elderberry. Don't fear, he whispered back. You'll root here, untamed elderberry. You don't need all that space, do you? The elderberry felt violated, but tried not to let it show. She rose out so high above the other plants, what could really hurt her? Yet she wasn't at ease with the knotweed curled up so close around her feet. That vulgar, seedy shrub. What had it all devolved into? And while the plants competed amongst each other, the workmen tried to reintegrate into the mainland society. But the dry world wouldn't take them back, with their dreamy gazes and stoic attitude to life. Some of the men eventually found work on the large oil rigs in the sea. There they created a life that felt somewhat familiar, where the days were long and the sea would beat up against the platform in the same stable rhythm they had been accustomed to. But in the end, the greasy sensation of oil on their hands never came close to the safe, dry mud that they had encapsulated them during the long nights on the lake. Other men became drunkards, got incarcerated, or ended up taking their own lives. Their vain search for existence of total surrender, as they had grown accustomed to on the lake, completely destroyed them. They were rendered in debt to a path, an immaterial battle against the forces of nature that had existed only for a very short period of time. And the polder, the unsightly artificial island, cast out of the bed of a murder sea, kept changing. After plants had sprouted all around, the first generation of insects emerged. They bred effortlessly in the swampy pools of the mud. At first, there was thousands of them, then hundreds of thousands, then millions. They multiplied faster than good for them, and fell like rain from the sky. Dead flies lay scattered all around, and the brave pioneer who dared send his automobile over the narrow, unhardened road had to rely solely on his windshield wipers to retain even a trace of visibility. The first inhabitants of the polder, a completely different kind of people than the men who built it, were terrified by the sight of them. On the hottest summer days, the flies flew into the houses. In and out, day and night, drowning in the beer glasses and pounding themselves to death against the window panes. School children swept the corpses together on the windowsills to hold morbid snowball fights out in the yard. And there was always that maddening sound, that noise that after getting out of bed in the morning started with a dozen flies pounding against the glass, and upon arrival in the kitchen had already swollen to a huge humming choir. The worst came after opening the front door, when the full extent of the terrorism revealed itself in an alien symphony, a gruesome masterpiece of 1,000 voices buzzing through the streets. There were only a few summers in which the fly population was this high. That was before the spiders came. What? How did we get to spiders? How do we go from the... I don't even recall leaving the otter. Yeah, I don't understand how we got to that. As we get closer to the inner ring, the brick facades give way to modern office buildings. Lars and I cross the road and dive into a narrow alleyway where the abyss is located. Not this place again. Lars is off to the bar. I sit and observe the DJ for a while, a dark-haired woman with an angry expression on her face. She's probably annoyed at having to work tonight, and she's pretty rubbish at it too, considering that nobody's dancing. Lars returns with beers. The doorman lied to us. He said it was busy inside. Look at that grumpy DJ, I said, slurring my speech. Lars seems distracted. Hey, it's Anna, he remarks. Anna Mulder from the theater committee. She's got some girlfriends with her. Lars is pointing over to a group of women. They all seem to have the same shade of chestnut brown hair, though that could be due to the lighting. Met her once, I replied. She's cute, let's go say hello. We approach the girls, with Lars leading the way. I'm starting to see the world a little sharper again. Lars nudges Anna. This is Mr. Hoffman, he announced to the girls, pointing at me. You know him, right? Anna casts a glance in my direction. I don't think I do, she replies, but how have you been doing, Lars? Saccharine beats pound into me, dragging me further out of my fatigue. My attention grabbed by the girl standing next to Anna. She's short, and on closer inspection, it appears her hair is slightly lighter than the others. Isn't her name Caroline? Or Jasmine, maybe? She's majoring in anthropology, and she's also on the theater committee, if I recall correctly. There's something about the way her pointy nose protrudes above her fine upper lip. It's tender. Noble, almost. Suddenly, she looks my way. And smiles, though it's a tormented smile. She thinks I'm a creep, staring at her like this. I avert my gaze. I take a sip of beer and hold the glass up to the light. The yellow liquid gently washes back and forth, evoking an impression of waving cornfields. Jasmine's a pretty girl. I'd be better if she didn't see me standing here by myself. I feel an urge to go outside. I lean over to interrupt Lars' conversation. Hey Lars, I'm calling it a night. This place closes in 10 minutes, he shouts back into my ear. Stay a little longer. Why was that so loud? Exactly 10 minutes later, I'm standing outside. The bus station is built slightly higher than the surrounding landscape, offering an intriguing view of the N723. In the distance, I can see a vast expanse of fields and wind turbines that lead all the way to the edge of the polder. Going into the abyss was a ridiculous waste of time. I try to recall how Lars talked me into it, but it's fuzzy. The stuffy air, the weak beer, the conceited voices. It may have started raining outside as the humming of the night seems to have grown slightly louder. What would Lars and Anna be doing at the moment? With my right hand, I softly stroked the empty seat beside me, the engine making a gurgling sound. The temperature rising and the swaying of the vehicle almost rocked me to sleep. Stripes drift over my... fuck. Then I'm gonna press that. I wake up just in time for the Ryberry stop. Oh, I don't know what he said. Oh, no. Oopsie. Didn't mean to press space. I took off my shoes at the bottom of the stairs, headed upwards, entered my room, placed my shoes on the floor, fall down on the bed. Before I drift away, I want to drink some water, but I'm growing drowsy again. To drink water later, set the alarm clock. Make it to 3 o'clock lecture. The water nymphs left long ago. What? Yet still I hear a roaring of waves. I opened my eyes to a rustling of corn, a cyan type sea. Oh, do I have to choose? I guess the sea? I don't know. Didn't know I had to make choices in this game. A terrible drought is raging through my mouth. I'm breathing heavily. It hurts to swallow. I attempt to sit upright, but my head is pounding. I sink down again. I doze off. Oh, we're in our room. We're actually in our room for one. 2 hours later, the room's spinning. I drag myself to the sink and force myself to drink the nauseating lukewarm water like a camel before a desert journey. Then I get up on my toes to open the tall window. A gust of fresh air blows into the room as if a vacuum seal has been broken. I pause for a moment to breathe in the air. Just one more hour of sleep, then everything will be fine again. And while I'm lying in bed, more and more cold air flows into the room. The condensation on the window slowly seeps away. My leg hair my leg hairs rise up straight, and the layers of dust under my bed blow upwards and spread throughout the room to form an invisible layer on the floor and books. I'm breathing quietly now, my sleep growing deeper. I dream a dream in which I keep missing the bus. 3 hours later. 3 hours pass before I stir again. It's 14:36. I'm feeling much better now. My phone battery is almost dead. I get up, shove a few library books into my bag, and descend. Why do I keep this? The space button's really sensitive. New is written in giant letters on the window. Whoa. Inside, a range of primary colors is poured out on me. The refrigerator unit produced a constant drone. E-Mart's bread section has little more to offer than a few bags of toaster strudels and squashed loaf of white. The smell of spoiled dairy is starting to affect me. I haven't eaten since yesterday evening. For a while, I stand there inspecting a large rack of mineral water for the rest of my overstimulated eyes. Oh, just to rest my overstimulated eyes. The people here live 4 meters below sea level, and yet they're willing to pay money for water? They should impose an import ban on the stuff. One day it'll be up to our necks again. I grab a box of cornflakes from a shelf. There's a short line at the cash register. The man in front of me must be in his late 40s, with flabby arms and long, light red hair that's all tied back into a ponytail, save for a few dry strands that fall down over his sweaty forehead. In his shopping basket, I see 2 half-liter cans of beer, a tin of condensed milk, and a bag of canary feed. Would he make it if the dikes broke through? Would he be able to swim against the current with those chubby arms of his? I hope he has enough time to set his little bird free. Ooh. It's not much later that day that I encountered an unknown gray cat sitting on a wall near the motorway, the animal eyeing me up stubbornly. He looks ancient, perhaps older than myself, with battered ears and thinning fur. I take out a handful of cornflakes and place them on the wall next to him. He sniffs them disinterestedly before pacing away. Ooh. As the town hall has been under renovation, it's draped in thick polyethylene sheeting. On a pale December afternoon, the covers have the same light gray hue as the sky, camouflaging the building into a colossal sham on the central square. A young man, tall, black hoodie and glasses, approaches me. Oh. You want a flyer? You want a flyer? He asks me routinely as he hands me an orange pamphlet and prepares to move on. But I stop him. Wait a minute. What's this, I ask. He halts and turns to face me.
Oh, it's a flyer for One Front,
he replies dismissively. With his right hand, he's holding a stack of pamphlets against his leg while riffling through them nervously with his thumb. His scruffy blonde hair protrudes from his head in irregular tufts. For some reason, he seems like the ideal target. One Front? I reply, grinning nervously. Tell me all about them.
Well, we stand for our national identity,
he replies.
You probably noticed that it's getting busier over here. We're under pressure from all sides.
I interrupt him. We're under pressure, you say? That sounds dangerous.
As I said, our culture is being threatened, he continues. You probably experienced for yourself how the city is changing. We're losing our core values. You're a student, right?
I nod.
Well, as a student, you've got to realize that things are happening to this country that really transgress all boundaries. I'm talking big topics like mass immigration, terrorism. What are your thoughts on that?
He stopped talking as if waiting for a response. So, what do you think about Deppenbrock? I asked him.
That's not what I mean, he replies. Just generally our way of life, our values.
I interrupt him again. Deppenbrock, what do you think about him? Isn't he an outspoken symbol of our nation's identity? Of our national... The boy's fidgeting impatiently as if he looks for a way out of the conversation.
You know, that's cool,
he replies.
Literature is important. I think I read one of his books in high school once, but I really have to continue handing out.
Read one of his books. Read what book? I shout out triumphantly, my eyes glistening. Deppenbrock wasn't an author, was he?
Come on, Deppenbrock! Alfie Deppenbrock!
He seems downright irritated now.
Good one. You got me,
he sneers.
Just read the flyer. Bye.
And as he's about to leave, I take out his pamphlet that I've stuffed into my jacket pocket, crumple it into a ball, and throw it at his feet. Deppenbrock. Don't you forget that name. Vive la orange, blanc et bleu. As he moves away, I consider trailing him, but I decide against it. 50 meters further, he resumes handing out flyers in the same evasive manner as before. Alright, guys. Let's save there. Okay, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, click the link down in the description to go see my other socials. Make sure you subscribe to the 242 TV channel. Some new things are coming out there very soon. So I'm gonna see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed. Roll that outro.
Baby,